I want to tell you a story about a place on an island in the South Pacific on a narrow piece of land between two oceans. It's a wet, swampy place with little streams meandering through it, flowing from underground springs and out to the two harbours. The different waters mix and mingle in this place, and out of this wetland, life is generated in abundance. Freshwater fish and eels thrive here, travelling along the streams and across vast oceans to breed. Wetland plants and trees grow along the banks of the stream and merge with the forests inland, providing food for the insects, which in turn provide food for the fish. At one time, the earth's energies become very active in this place, and the land spews forth fire, lava, rocks and ash, pushing mountains upwards and raining debris down on the surrounding area. After a time, this debris creates rich and fertile soil and allows plants and animals to thrive. Seabirds flock to this area from all over the world, especially to the harbours, which provide an abundance of food. The first people are drawn from across the ocean to settle in this place because of the availability of fresh food, fertile soil for growing crops, and proximity to transport networks. The people see themselves as descendants of the land, which means that they care for it and use only what they need for survival. When they've finished with something, it is returned to the land where it creates new life. Nothing is wasted. They name the landmarks here Manuka o Hoturoa, Māngere, Ōtāhuhu, Te Pane o Mataoho, Ihu Mātau, Pukaki, Puketutu, Te Ararata, Harania, o Ruarangi, to remind future generations of the significance of these places and their connection to them. Fast forward to 2020, after 200 years of colonisation, industrialisation and globalisation, and the picture couldn't be more different. The wetlands, drained for farming and then housing. The mountains, quarried to build roads and airport runways. The waterways, polluted by factories, a sewage treatment plant, and rubbish. Most of the original ecosystems have been lost. The fish, birds, insects, and vegetation have no place to thrive amongst the concrete and tarmac of our human settlement. The original inhabitants of this area find it hard to exercise kaitiakitanga, guardianship of this area, because of unjust land confiscations. They struggle to remind us that humans are part of the ecosystem too. Auckland Council tells us that as a city, we create a rugby field full of waste every week. Most of it ends up in a giant hole in the ground just outside of our city, where it will lie forever, creating toxic waste for future generations to deal with. Some of it gets shipped offshore to other countries where it creates problems for other people. Is this the end of the story for Māngere? Or is it possible for humans to once again live in harmony with the natural ecosystems of this place? These are questions that the Talking Rubbish team at Me Family Services has been exploring since we began 7 years ago with a contract from Auckland Council to provide waste education and support for the Māngere Ōtāhuhu communities. Me Family Services is a community organisation that has served the people of Māngere for the past 28 years, providing community and school social work services, as well as an early childhood centre and men's shed for our local board area. Our aim is to build a thriving and regenerative community here in Māngere, where everyone and everything can find its potential. Inspired by regenerative development approaches, Talking Rubbish started out by exploring the ground of our project, seeking to gain a deep understanding of this place and the potential that is already here, rather than focusing on the many and sometimes overwhelming problems. What we found was that there were already some real champions in our midst. Marae committed to the journey back to zero waste and remembering what it means to exercise kaitiakitanga. Community gardeners encouraging local food production. Families picking up stuff from the inorganic collection and fixing it up, selling the metal and shipping construction material back to the islands. People repurposing broken furniture and bikes and making new things out of them. Groups cleaning up our streams and harbours. Others teaching our children how to care for our earth and waterways. We found that our communities can be extremely resourceful in what we have and innovative in finding new ways of doing things, drawing on the wisdom that's been handed down through our families for generations. Over the past 7 years, Talking Rubbish has tried to inspire others in our community with these stories and have run hundreds of workshops to encourage people to reduce, reuse, recycle and regenerate waste at home, at work and in the groups and organisations we connect with. We've worked with groups, businesses, event organisers across our community, delving into bins, helping people find ways to reduce the waste they're producing, and supporting the development of local solutions for dealing with it once it's made. And most importantly, we've tried to connect people with the stories and potential of this place to build a sense of shared purpose and vision for our area. During this time, we've been developing and honing our vision of what a zero-waste Māngere Ōtāhuhu might look like, drawing on the unique spirit of this area. At Me Family Services, we've been developing a zero-waste hub to test out and demonstrate what's possible on a neighbourhood scale. Our hub includes Te Puna Oranga, our community garden space, where we're composting all the food and paper waste from our early childhood centre and offices, growing, cooking and eating food, reusing neighbourhood rubbish to create garden spaces and structures, and providing tools and support for our community to make things for their own spaces. Te Puna Oranga offers the kind of space every community is in need of. Somewhere people can go to feel valued, make a contribution, share knowledge about growing food and eating well, and rethink how we create and deal with rubbish. It has become a therapeutic space, bursting with life, where people are reminded of their interconnectedness with the rest of nature. Then there's our recovery room, where we're giving our community opportunities to trade their time, skills and resources with each other. The recovery room is stocked with unwanted goods from Auckland Airport's lost property and left luggage, as well as from local hotels and other tourism operators, local families and organisations. Through Me Family Services' extensive networks in our local community, we are able to connect families, groups, organisations and businesses with these amazing resources, which include clothing, luggage, strollers, household goods, camping equipment and much more. The recovery room has transformed our office space into a thriving hub that draws in local residents who hadn't even realised we were here. Some of our favourite trades have included providing tents and sleeping bags to the protectors at Ihumatao, resourcing local students with camping gear to enable them to attend their school camps, providing wool to a local teacher who got a friend to knit baby jumpers and toys that were then sold to fundraise for the school, providing serving dishes to Achu Hall for a funeral, resourcing Te Puea Marae with sheets and bedding as they set up emergency accommodation for homeless families, providing tennis rackets and balls for the Māngere Ōtāhuhu Netball Centre for their holiday programs, and seeing people become more mobile with the aid of walking sticks, wheelchairs and strollers. Our recovery room is reminding people of the importance of reciprocity in building community, because it highlights the inherent value in everyone and everything. People have traded for resources with home baking, artworks, items from their own homes, time helping in our recovery room and community garden, introductions to friends and family as well as monetary koha. This approach builds people's confidence and changes the conversation from what do you need to how can we help each other? In a thriving living system, there is no waste, and this includes people. Our resource recovery operation is keeping a huge amount of waste from landfill, a whopping 14,000 kilograms over the past year. It's also giving people an opportunity to uncover and value their own contributions to the community. Some visitors to our recovery room have become regular time traders with us, swapping their time for resources and gaining skills and confidence along the way. Several have gone on to find employment in the wider community as a result of their experience here. We are currently working to extend this concept of time trading out to the wider community through the development of Time Bank Māngere, an initiative that will enable Māngere residents, organisations and businesses to swap time and resources amongst each other without the need for money to change hands. To significantly increase the potential of our community to once again be able to regenerate its own waste, we are working towards establishing a community recycling centre in our area, a community-owned space where we can gather our waste and find new uses for it, create businesses from it, and grow our local economy. We don't yet have a space or funding, but thanks to a local board grant, we've been building the foundations of this plan by developing a network of groups, organisations and businesses that are prepared to trade resources rather than throw stuff away or buy new stuff. We've been building a database of what people are throwing away and what people need so we can connect them up, and we've been able to purchase a cargo van to support the delivery of larger items. Of course, we're in a time of significant disruption and we don't yet know what impact it's going to have on our projects and plans. Many local businesses may not be able to continue operating in the future. Our community is suffering disproportionately as a result of high unemployment and continued housing issues. However, this time is also presenting new opportunities. People are becoming more open to learning how to grow their own food and utilise the produce that's available locally. There is renewed interest in finding ways to be resourceful with what we have, rather than throwing away and buying new stuff from overseas. New spaces may become available for our community to utilise for resource recovery and micro-business. Our hope is that as a community, we can use this time of disruption to understand and reflect on the systems that are in place at the moment, systems which generate a huge amount of waste that's on a one-way journey to landfill. Now is the time for us to decide what kind of community we would like to be in the future and what new systems are needed to support this. We truly believe that the resources, skills and knowledge are already here and that we just need to look around and see with new eyes. Obviously, if the bathtub is overflowing, we need to turn off the tap rather than just continually mop the floor. So as an organisation, Me Family Services has been active in advocating for government to do things like ban plastic bags and create product stewardship schemes to stop waste coming into our community in the first place. And we've been encouraging our community to get involved in these conversations and to have their say at the polling booth on election day as well. Our area has historically low voter turnout, especially amongst young people, and there are many barriers to participation in the democratic process. These factors impact on our ability to influence the wider system that enable waste to come into our area and destroy our natural ecosystems. As we see from the story I shared at the beginning of this presentation, Māngere Ōtāhuhu is a wetland area, a place where things gather, mix and mingle, and where new life arises. It's also a place where explosive energy lies dormant, waiting for its chance to break out. It's a fertile place. Regenerative development encourages us that these forces are still with us despite the concrete and tarmac. They still influence and shape our actions as humans in this place. We have seen them at work in our own organisation and in the solutions that we have been working on over the past few years. Our challenge at this time is to help our community find ways of working with the spirit of this land to create new systems and processes for reducing, reusing, recycling and regenerating our waste. A system where all waste is valued as a resource that can be used to create something new. A living system where once again nothing is wasted.